American Music Factory shop in Shah Alam, Malaysia. I'm doing a review of this guitar. I'm sure you all recognize the shape and the model, the inlays, the carved top, the frets, and the back, and the inset neck. Very classic, famous design. The headstock shape, but this is an Aiersi brand. These are made in China. Every one I've seen so far, which I've played several of them, reviewed a few of them, every one of them is immaculate quality, very good. Perfect reproductions of famous and well-loved guitars from around the world, from classic American guitars through to these modern classic now, these ones made famous by a certain Mr. Carlos Santana primarily, and a lot of others as well nowadays, but yeah, so this is Aiersi's own take on the PRS, okay? The classic shape, carved top, etc., etc. So I'm going to be reviewing and playing this one just a little bit. All the others that I've reviewed have been stunning guitars, and one thing that really stands out is the finish. Not just the paint or the gloss or whatever the coloration is, but the actual finishing of the guitar in the factory. These things are put together nicely and very well, but they're also polished and made to they're hand finished primarily, obviously, and the build, the quality of everything is pretty much perfect. But you pay a much lower price for an Aiersi than you would for the original guitars. So they're reproductions, copies, whatever you want to call them, but in and of themselves, they're actually very, very good guitars, generally speaking. They come in all shapes and sizes, and they do come in all sorts of prices as well, but the electric ones that I've reviewed range from a 429 ringgit Malaysian for a Fender Stratocaster copy or replica, and that is a nice guitar. It was a really nice guitar. Classic build, look, style, sound, everything. Right through to the Ibanez heavy rock and metal guitars, hollow body jazz guitars like the Gibson 335s, and now this. Okay, obviously Paul Reed Smith guitars are very, very famous, very widespread, especially amongst the celebrities these days. I think Carlos Santana was one of the very first really well-known guitarists to start using them back in the late 70s, early 80s, when Paul Reed Smith started chasing after him while Carlos was still playing the Yamaha SGs. And after Carlos picked up the PRS, it seemed to become a big trend, and now they cover a lot of bases, of course. I mean, they're not just beautiful guitars for fusion and rock and Latin and blues, like is what Carlos Santana would play, but they're also infiltrated the metal scene and all the different forms of dark and bright heavy metal, as well as the jazz fusion scenes. John McLaughlin nowadays uses PRS electrics almost exclusively, after having been through a whole load of things. One of the things that Paul Reed Smith brought into the guitar world, apart from quality guitars, was the fact that he made beautiful guitars. They looked gorgeous, the woods were incredible, the design was great, the finish was fantastic, even down to the inlays of the famous bird inlays like on this one here. They sounded amazing, the pickups were incredibly powerful, but with a lot of body and a lot of character. A lot of heavy metal guitars like Ibanez, they have powerful pickups, but they don't have a lot of character. They're often quite trebly. You know, they're loud and powerful, but these one, Paul Reed Smith seemed to go towards the more bassy, more middly kind of sound with pickups. They were very powerful. I mean, he was chasing after Carlos Santana to reproduce the tone that Carlos already had, using a Yamaha SG and his various amplifiers from Marshalls through to Dumbles, and primarily the Mesa Boogie stuff. Carlos had a very, very distinct sound, a very beautiful, sweet tone. And Paul Reed Smith made it his mission to go and chase after him with guitars that felt and sounded as good or better than what he was using at the time. He came up with his classic Paul Reed Smith design. They're covering a whole bunch of different models nowadays, but this one is a reproduction of the classic Custom 24 frets. I've lowered down the action on this one with a bit of work on it. It's got a pretty fat neck, almost like a Les Paul, but wider. A really chunky fat neck on this thing. Okay, it's a handful. It really is, eh? But lowering the action really helps. There's a lot of space on this neck as well. The strings are quite close together. There's a lot of gap on the edges here. So the fretboard itself is wide, but the string spacing is not. It's quite a deep, solid neck. I'm sure that helps contribute to the sound and the sustain and the stability of the guitar. I mean, this is a perfect reproduction in terms of look, size, specifications, and style and everything of the classic Paul Reed Smith guitars. So this is an Aiersi, as I remember. Just to give you the price on this thing before we go ahead and tell you how good it is, this is 999 ringgit Malaysian as of August 2020. So less 1 ringgit, less than 1,000 ringgit for a brand new guitar. That is a very, very good quality Paul Reed Smith Custom 24 replica. Okay, so we're gonna put it through its paces. Just try it out clean, just straight through the amp, and then I'll bring in some chorus and some effects just to let you see what these pickups and what this guitar can actually do. As I say, I've had to reduce the action a little bit. This came straight out of the factory with an action that was a little high for me. It still is. I only brought it down just a little bit, but it plays a lot easier now, and it actually sounds better. A lot of people think that if you've got a high action, you've got a better tone. Not true, actually. Go ahead and argue that one, but it's not necessarily true. With a lower action, you've got less distortion on the strings because you don't need to push them down so far to reach the neck. Okay, and so you're going to have a tone and an actual note that's more accurate. Okay, actually thinner strings and a lower action really ultimately leads to, if you play accordingly, if you alter your style and your habits of your left hand and your right hand, you can get a very, very, very good tone, and very pure and authentic tone as well. Okay, so this is the Aiersi. It's obviously a Paul Reed Smith Custom 24 replica. Very nicely put together. Nothing you can say bad about it, really. It's from the experiences I've had of Paul Reed Smith guitars. This is pretty close to it. It's built the same. The tolerances all look the same. They're all very accurate. The neck is set very nicely into that body. No gaps. The glossy finish there is very nice and strong. Good color. I wonder if they fade like the real Paul Reed Smith guitars do. Anyway, so you've got your classic deep sort of crescent shaped heel here with the set neck that goes into the body. It's an unusual design, that one, that Paul Reed Smith seemed to come up with. Not really my preference of of neck setting. I prefer either bolt on or through the body neck. I like those kind of styles, but it is very classic nowadays. These guitars in Paul Reed Smith's world have been around for getting on for 40 something years now, and now he's started to do all kinds of different things with his guitars, including Fender Strat copies himself, which John Mayer will attest to. One thing you notice straight away with this guitar is how loud it is. Those pickups are very, very powerful. I'll wind that volume down as far as I can go. I'm on the neck pickup here. I'm up close to full volume nearly on the guitar itself. What we've got here is very clear distinction between notes, even though it's quite loud. The notes seem to be very clear. Every note has its own space within the projection of the sound, which is pretty nice. Like that, or back off the tone a little bit. Okay, that's the neck pickup. Having to be careful with the picking. It's so loud and so powerful. Very nice tone. Very true as well. Very clear. In the middle pickup setting, you've got a combination of the two. Very clear, really powerful but clear pickups. Even at that high volume, I'm full volume there on the guitar, actually 10. I'm not getting any distortion whatsoever on just straight into an amp. Great pickup, the bridge pickup. A lot of tone options there. I mean, nearly full volume, and you can see this is tone changes. This is not volume changes. Right right through to a crunchy, kind of slightly distorted. So I put it on full. Take off that tone a little bit. In fact, that's tone full down, and it sort of jumps. It's not a linear. It's not a linear pot. This one comes out of the cage there, very low down, and then really starts to brighten up and crunch it out. Sustain on this guitar, very nice, interesting pickup response. So I'll stick on some chorus now just to give it some prettiness. See what we can get out of this thing. Neck pickup, middle pickup. Again, the volume switch is very, very sensitive. If I back that off a little bit. But I can use the tone control. If I pull the volume up pretty high, it's really close to 10. That's the neck pickup there. Oh no, sorry, that's middle pickup. Two pickups together. And then with the bridge pickup. Full volume, tone about halfway. Zero distortion or overdrive anywhere in the channel. Okay, this is just pure pickup. Kind of response, very powerful, really projective. Now I think if I go into overdrive mode, I'm going to blow the curtains away, so I might have to stop the video to change the volume, but let's just try it. So I've got a bit of a sort of a crunchy blues kind of pedal. So this is again neck pickup. Take that out to full volume on the guitar, and it really starts to spike a little bit there, eh? So it's really jumping out in terms of the tone. So it's a pretty powerful guitar. It's very sort of fairly mild kind of overdrive. It's a bluesy kind of pedal. And there's your classic sort of sustain and power of those pickups, eh? Again, they're all wound up to full there, so I'm going to go to the middle pickup and have a listen to that. Still, even though it's distorting, very definite kind of sound you're getting from this thing. Really crisp, really clear, powerful, short, singular sort of tone I'm getting. Bridge pickup. See how low we can take that volume. Off the tone a little tiny bit. to know the model, you can check out the website for purchasing these guitars, because you can buy them directly from online from the American Music Factory website. In fact, underneath this video somewhere you'll find a link that goes straight to all the products, all the guitars, all the accessories and everything, and you can just purchase direct online there. Having watched this review, this is the Aiersi arch body electric guitar. PRS18 is the name. It's an arch body, carved or sculpted body, if you like, because the top's not purely flat, just like a classic PRS Paul Reed Smith guitar. This is a copy of one, a very nice copy too, very accurate, very pretty, very nicely put together. Structure, as always, is immaculate, perfect, from Aiersi. They are a lower end budget kind of guitar manufacturer, supplier for the market from China, but their workmanship, their accuracy, their parts and materials that they use, and just as importantly the final finishing, all of that is very accurate, very good quality. Certainly easily worth the money that they ask for these guitars. This one itself, this Paul Reed Smith copy, is brand new, 999 ringgit. So less than 1,000 ringgit for brand new Paul Reed Smith custom 24 replica. Plays very nice. I've lowered the action down a little bit just to bring it down. It was a little high for me. It's got a big, fat, chunky neck. It's got a nice, I think that's rosewood fingerboard with the classic kind of abalone bird inlays there, classic Paul Reed Smith ones. Everything about it is pretty much the Paul Reed Smith design. 2 twin humbucker pickups, not splittable, and a 3-way pickup switch. Okay, neck, both, bridge. This one does come with a whammy bar, a tremolo arm if you want one. So I've tested out this guitar clean and with some bluesy kind of crunch. So let's just try it straight through with some ear melting distortion through a pedal, and then straight into the amp there. I'm not using an all, I'm just using a simple classic kind of distortion pedal. So this is the guitar. We've noticed that the tone control pots have an awful lot of influence on the sound. Now that might sound obvious. It doesn't just change the tone, but it seems to kick the power up a lot. Almost as much as the volume does, which is slightly unusual. But once you get used to the configurations on your guitar, whatever guitar you have, then you learn how to use these two things, rather than just rely on pedals and EQ pedals and amp settings and all that kind of thing. Then you can do your own EQing and power outs and volume levels and boosts and all that sort of thing. A lot of that work can be done on board of any guitar if it's got the right kind of pickups and pots in here. This one seems to be very variable, so you can do a lot with this guitar. At the moment, so this is just clean straight through an amp. Of the strings, each string has its own sound, very, very clear, very powerful pickups, a lot of punch, but clean, real clear, so that's a good thing. I'm going to use the pedal now, and we'll have a listen to see what this thing can do. I'm on the neck pickup. Here, those notes are really clear, and there's loads of sustain. Those pickups are nasty, really powerful, but still retaining that clarity, which is what you'd expect from a real Paul Reed Smith, which is what they managed to have replicated with this Aiersi for a fraction of the price. Okay, so let's have a play on some of the other pickups. I'm going to go straight over to the neck pickup, to the bridge pickup, wind it down a bit, tone and volume. Get a real crunchy kind of sound out of that. That's the tiniest change in volume, that difference there. If I turn up the volume to 4, or they're close to it, I'm going to push the pickups to kicking out a lot of power. On 0 on the tone, so that's why it's got that woolly sort of soft sound to it. But it very quickly sort of sharpens up as I take the tone up. pickup. Very nice. Wind off the top. by Carlos Santana, beat Paul Reed Smith. Really, really great when you wind these pickups up. They're clear and crisp, but they've got a warmth, classic from the Paul Reed Smith style of pickups and guitars. This again is an Aiersi from China. It's a Paul Reed Smith PRS Custom 24 replica. It's actually called the PRS18, or the arch body, or chisel body, whichever, sculpted body. It's not a flat face top guitar. Beautiful wood, very nice, well figured, kind of maple, I think it is. But that's your distorted sound on the various pickups. Okay, so if you wind it right up, you're gonna have a lot of punch, a lot of clarity though, you know. What a sound. Absolutely spectacular. Really, really great pickups. Really nice. The neck is a thicker sort of a neck profile to what I'm used to. But you get used to it pretty quick. I think even if I brought the action down even further, this would be a spectacular sounding guitar. Eh? I've got the action now at around about 2mm on the 12th fret, which is a little high for me. But it's still great, and the strings are not high tension. I'm not sure what the length of the neck is, whether it's a 25-inch or 26, or probably 25 and a half or 25 3/4, but I'm not sure. But it feels like low tension. It's very easy to play, really. Like So that's the Aiersi Paul Reed Smith copy. The PRS18 it's called, arch top body. Okay, that means the top is sculpted out of wood, solid wood, and then machined or carved down, carved top sometimes they're called. Anyway, so a quick review. Aiersi brand guitar. It's a Paul Reed Smith custom 24 replica, of course. 24 frets, abalone bird inlays, just like the real thing. It's got a set inlaid neck like that. I'm not sure what the proper term is, but it's not a bolt on and it's not a neck through. And it's not a full sort of inlaid neck because there's a bit of a gap there. And you have the classic super large crescent for high fret access up here, you see. Got a lot of room for your thumb and your fingers when you want to access those top frets up at the 2 octave point up there. 2 humbucker pickups, 3-way selector switch, very simple, very straightforward, very authentic and classic. Single volume and single tone controls which work powerfully. They change the sounds tremendously, so you've got a lot of scope with this guitar, going from really quiet and smooth and mellow to really punching it, depending on what you're doing with your pedals and your amp and your volume, what kind of music you want to play. But generally, excellent guitar. And for a price of 999 ringgit brand new from Aiersi Music Factory, this is an incredible deal. It's an incredible guitar. You can see it's just a standard sort of Paul Reed Smith classic head, machine heads. I think it's a 1-piece neck, but it's a pretty thick neck profile, pretty rounded, fairly wide fretboard, but the strings, interestingly enough, are inlaid or inset, so that they're not as wide as the neck is. There you see there's a big gap on either side of those 2 E strings. Okay, but neck is flat, straight and true, and so are all the frets. None of the frets are buzzing. There's no need to do a fret job on this thing, I think. I would bring the action down myself if I bought this new for myself as a working guitar. I'd bring the action down and then make sure the neck was straight and everything like that. But it is ready, pretty much ready to go. Apart from that, I would suggest. But then again, any guitar usually requires that if you wanted to put it to proper gigging use or professional use. This is a beautiful guitar though. Well, look at that. Just like why Paul Reed Smith got so famous and so popular, because they're lovely guitars. Powerful sound, very clear, very crisp, and special kind of pickup tone to these things, and response throughout all the tonal and the volume levels. It changes a lot, so you can do a lot with the guitar. Very versatile. That's an Aiersi PRS18 model. Obviously an arch top, carved top, whatever you want to call it. Solid body. Paul Reed Smith replica guitar. Available from Aiersi Music Factory in Shah Alam, Malaysia. And available from the connection link below this video as well. Just click on that and you go straight to the page, and you can choose what color you want and what size you want, and etc, and purchase one for 999 ringgit brand new. This is an excellent deal. Really great guitar, and those pickups sound fantastic. So check it out, go to the page, read all about it, and get yourself a really nice, inexpensive guitar. It'll be a good investment. Aiersi PRS18. Aiersi brand at Aiersi Music Factory. Okay, Thanks very much. We'll see you, catch you again.